Good morning, Chris the Ultimate Recycler here. Welcome back to the shop. It's episode 7 of the Great Shop Cleanup. There's going to be a lot of these, and I'm feeling it's better to film early. We've opened early. In fact, it's Sunday morning. The door says we don't open till 10. It's now 8:30. We actually made a sale at 10 past 8 Sunday morning. So there you go. Opening early has its benefits. It also gives me a chance to do a bit of videoing before the crazy tourists flock the joint, and it's been so busy lately. Easter was flat out. And Friday and Saturday this weekend have been just crazy, which is great. We're moving a lot of stock. So I thought I'd give you a quick update, and we'll get something else out of the storeroom. We'll go through that crate, I think. We've got to do something every episode, but I'll give you an update on some of the sales that have been happening. Okay, I still have 3 of the bikes. However, a bit of a bonus yesterday. Someone asked me about this bike. They didn't want to buy the bike. I have dropped the prices a little bit. Actually, this one was down to 40. But all he wanted to buy was the front wheel quick release axle, and he said he was happy to pay 40 for it. And he said, can I get rid of the rest of the bike? And I thought, well, yes, that sounds a pretty fair offer. In fact, I ended up saying 30 is fine. I can't bring myself to charge a full price just for an axle. I've dropped the rest of the frame now down to 20, so I'll still end up $10 ahead. So even though we haven't sold that bike, we've nearly got the return I was looking for on it. I've dropped the Avanti down to 80 and the Pro Gear ones down to 60, so I'll keep discounting them until they sell, or if people want to buy parts. We have some sales on some of the artwork. A few of those have gone. I've dropped them down to 20 each. I think I mentioned that in the last video. So they are moving quite well. What else out the front here? Oh, the chargers and power supplies. I have sold, I think, about 13 all up now, so it's not much really, $13 for 13 chargers, but it's much better than scrap, so I'm happy with how they're going. Every time I find new ones out in the back room or in a box somewhere, I just keep topping it up, so happy with that. The aluminium project boxes, I sold my first one yesterday. A guy was absolutely excited about it. He had a project, he needed a box. He liked that it had the fuse holder still in it, so that's good. And the e-waste, last of the e-waste stuff is all down to $2 each, not much to go. And a box of broken mosaics china, which was in the storeroom, is out for $5 a lot. We'll see how we go there. Let's go inside. It's cold out here. And it's much easier to film in here when there's no customers getting in my road. The comics that we found, Christine already had quite a stack of comics from a deal she did, but I've added all the ones we got out of that box from the farm. Mostly $5 to $10. I've kind of graded them. I checked them all out on eBay completed items. It was pretty easy just to search the number they have on them, and I could find examples of just about everyone. Condition makes a big difference on pricing on these, but that stack of comics from that box you saw me unpack just a couple of episodes ago, I've added $700 worth of comics to this lot. Christine had almost about that amount anyway, so if we get the full price on all these, there's about $1,500 worth of comics there. They do sell. We've been selling them quite consistently, just 1 or 2 at a time, and I don't see any reason to discount these. I think these would be awesome stock to take to a market or something down the track, so we'll leave them there, and they should return a pretty good total. A few of the other things I got out of the box in the last couple of episodes, where did I put them? There's, that gun cleaning gear. The brass rods that screw together, I've put them over here. I did just put $20 a lot on those, so I think they'll sell quite well. But the tin that was with them, I've put in this little cabinet here, and I've put $55 on this, and it's a World War II Vickers machine gun oil tin. And it's actually, I couldn't see it at the start, but I cleaned it up, and it's actually dated on the bottom, 1942 Birmingham. So that was a nice little find. I don't know if the brass cleaning items were from that era as well, but it was pretty hard to tell. There was no marks on those. I sold a lot of stuff out of this little cabinet, just all little trinkets. I keep it locked up because this is the sort of stuff that people tend to put in their pockets. I know we do lose a fair bit of stuff out of this shop, and we can't do much about it because it's such an expanse, and there's plenty of places for people to sort of loiter without being spotted. We do lose bits and pieces. Fortunately, most of our stock is low value and it doesn't really hurt us that much, but it is annoying. Now, next thing to update you on, laptops. I sold the first lot of about half a dozen I told you about. Haven't sold any since. However, I've had a number of people, mostly a couple of younger kids, want to buy them and use them just as either DVD players because it's got a DVD drive in it, or just as a basic cheap computer. And they're always put off when they realise that it won't work without a hard drive. Power supplies aren't so much of a problem. I have got some spares, and you can pick up ones that will plug in pretty easily. So I've got the rest of these at home. There's, what have we got, another 6 or so here. There's probably another 10 to 15 at home. And I'm looking at actually reformatting the existing hard drives. It's been a bit of a challenge because they came from a school and they're not easy to reformat or reset. We'll talk about that. I might do a separate video on that, and we'll go home and have a talk about that. Anyway, at this stage, I'll leave these in here. If they happen to sell at $5 each, great. But I've got probably another, what did I say, maybe about 15 more. And if I can get them going and actually operational, we'll get much better money than $5. Okay, we have a few computer monitors here. You may have seen from recent videos. Haven't sold any of those yet, but I'm not really worried about those. I think that's all I had to update you on. Oh no, the fabric. There was some linen and towels and tea towels and things out of this suitcase that we unpacked, I think, in the last episode. And a few of you asked about it. I said I'd show you what was in it. Basically a lot of very old, scruffy, faded, well-used tea towels and some pillowcases. I'll probably take them home just as rags for the shed. Not really any fabric value there. And some sheets, possibly rags as well. Kristen didn't want any of this. I did offer, of course, as I should. She's over there sewing away. Hello. So we have got an early productive start this Sunday, both of us. The lace curtains, I'm not even going to unpack them. I'll just put $10 on the bag and we'll see if someone can have a use for those. I don't know. It looks like there's lots of bits and pieces in there rather than just one set. The better items, I'll probably sell these calico bags. They're old poultry stock feed bags. So they may have a market. People hang them up. It's kind of cool advertising. Maybe I could even give them to the girls for their restaurant that's in an old flour mill. So anyway, we might try $5 to $10 each on those. Here we go. There's only 2 of them. And the rest of this stack is some vintage tablecloths. And I think they'll sell. There's a few stains on them, but they're not too bad. There's no holes, no tears. So we might just go like $5 each on those. We'll get some return out of this suitcase full of assorted linen, but probably the big portion of it will be just rags. And of course the suitcase, we'll probably just put $10 on that and move that on. Okay, let's go to the storeroom, see what's next in this big pile we have to deconstruct and discover things in and price things. And oh, I've put some more stuff there. You didn't see that. Hang on. No, I haven't been buying more stock or taking more e-waste. That's just some crates of laptops that I've had stashed away. In fact, they even came from next door, so I've owned them for a long time. I need to sort out what to do with old laptops. I've got some theories, as I said, with the other Acer ones from the school. I'm looking at trying to revitalise some, and some will sell for scrap. We'll go through that in a separate video. Okay, this area now, you can see we did make a fair bit of progress in the last episode. We will look in that crate today, and I think we'll work along this pile where the outer row of boxes on top of that old butter churn is mostly farm stuff. So we'll go through that, I think, next. Although there's a box around here that a couple of you may have noticed. I featured these in a video when I was over in Matawa one time, and I had a subscriber that I think he still watches my channel and has messaged me. He was very interested in buying these oil tops, tin tops, and bottles that are wrapped up. And I kind of put him off and said, look, I'll get to them. At one stage, I wasn't even sure where they were. But I'm actually not going to sell them now, and the reason being that I could put them in the shop, I could work out a price, I could get a pretty good return on them, and everyone would be happy. But I think I'm going to need to space my income out down the track and eBay stuff when I don't have a shop anymore. This is the sort of stuff that would do very well on eBay, possibly even better price than what I'd put in the shop. And given that there's no fees on eBay coming up soon, they're changing eBay Australia to not have seller fees, although it has been pointed out by a few of you that they do slug the buyers a bit extra, and you do have to use eBay's postage labels. But I think these would be really good items to stash aside you know, bury, if you will, and sell them down the track later on when I need a bit of more consistent income later on. That's a Castrol one, great condition, original bottles, not reproductions. And who knows, the price of these might have gone even higher. So I'm going to pack these away. Apologies to whoever I said I'd get to them eventually, and I'll let you know a price. They will be for sale eventually, but whilst we're cleaning up the shop and the mad frantic rush is to reduce stuff here and to get rid of as much low value stuff as we can, as you can see there's plenty of it, I think good quality stuff I'm just going to pack away for a rainy day when we don't have a shop anymore, because that stuff will sell very easily without a shop. So that's what I'm going to do with that lot. I will wrap them up, I'll store them in a crate. They will go to a potential eBay stock storage facility, wherever that may be. Yes, some stuff will go home, but it's going to be a livelihood later on when we're selling either markets or swap meets or via eBay or Facebook Marketplace or whatever. Okay, have I justified that? That's my theory at the moment. Let's get into this crate and see what else is in here. It looks like mostly shed stuff. I can see a rabbit trap. And we got some things in the last video, a little jar of, where are they? I'll go and get them. Yes, these things, they are, I kind of guessed right. It is glue. They're pearls of bone glue. So it's what they used to use to glue furniture and leather and other things like that. And you're supposed to soak these pearls in hot water for quite a long time, and it softens them up, and then you heat them in a glue pot. And that brings me back to this crate. This is a glue pot. Now I think the bone glue is much the same as hide glue, and it's made from animals. I think bones from cattle were used to make these, I don't know how, make these little pearl things. And you put them in this top thingo, and you put hot water in the bottom. I guess you probably have it on the stove to keep it hot. And it basically melts the glue and gets it to a consistency where you can use it and use it to construct furniture or other things. So there you go. So now we have a good glue pot. That's one of the better ones I've seen. I think it's aluminium. It seems quite light. They're often cast iron, but I think this one's cast aluminium with a brand on the front too. So I reckon we'll get probably $30, $40 for that, maybe more. I'll check that out. And I'll put it in the shop right next to the bone glue. Interesting. Okay, maybe I should set my tripod up and we'll have a look through this. And I reckon we might have a bit of value in here. Okay, what else have we got in here? Well, we have a paint roller. Okay, well, I haven't got a use for that. I'll put that in the, I think it's brand new. I'll put that in the $2 box out the front. I have just general shed stuff for $2 each. I have some leather punches, just your multi-size punches. They'll sell okay. They're pretty rough, a bit rusty. And that's a Donald's wire strainer hammer. So they can go with our wire strainers. I think I have one of these in stock anyway somewhere. They used to have a triangle file mounted between those clips on the handle, and I think that was for nicking and breaking the wire. If you ran the triangle file across the fencing wire, especially high tensile wire, and put a little notch in it, and you bend the wire at that position, it will break. I think that's what the file was for. Correct me if I'm wrong. And you have just a little claw hammer part for pulling out fencing staples, I guess, hammering staples in. And this hammer acts as the lever for your fencing tool. So they're often missing. I think because they ended up in people's toolboxes and got separated from the rest of the wire strainer. There's some old secateurs, and some scissors, some adjustable pliers. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, I think that's, I don't know. I thought it might have been out of a wood plane, a blade holder, but no. Don't know what that is. Some tin snips and some more adjustable pliers and a little ruler. Okay, I'll clean that stuff up. There's not much value there. You know, probably $5 each for those things with a quick clean up. Won't go to too much trouble. Most of them will probably be English branded. Okay, this is a a saw set. It's branded Atlas, and it's for bending the teeth on a wood saw. You have to bend each tooth alternate ways so that you get a width of cut wider than the blade of the saw, otherwise the saw jams. So it's just a simple press and it bends the teeth over. Some of them are brass. I think this one's just cast iron. So that's going to be $10 to $15. We'll give it a quick wash up. It'll look a lot better. Oh, unusual. That's pretty cool. I don't know what that is. Well, they're obviously pliers. Possibly for pulling nails or tacks out of furniture when you're reupholstering. Looks to me like you grab the nail like that, and then as you're levering back, the more pressure you put on levering, the harder the jaws grab, so it won't slip off. So it's basically a denailing tool, or maybe for pulling staples out. So it could be an upholsterer's tool. I don't think I've seen one of those before, and that's a very nice piece of equipment. I'll check that out. I'll give it a clean up. I'm thinking at least $20. They can't be very common. Interesting piece. This is your standard timber marking gauge. In good condition, has the brass metal fittings here. And that's just simply for setting your depth on your timber, clamping that up, and then running it along the timber. And there's a very sharp point there that leaves a gouge or a line in your timber. Good condition, that one, with the nice brass fittings. I think that would be probably close to $20. And rabbit traps. All right, the rest of these are rabbit traps. I didn't realise I had these here. So these, in Australia, they're illegal to use. Contrary to popular belief, you can buy and sell them, but they have to be sold as a collectible item, and you can't knowingly sell them to someone that's going to use them. I've heard stories of people being not prosecuted, but not being allowed to sell them at markets and things. I've never actually heard anyone being prosecuted for selling them, but you certainly can be for trying to use them. This is a Lane's Ace brand. It's got Ace of Spades on the plate there. Quite a common brand. And I sell these usually for about $15 each. And people use them as all sorts of, just decoration, hanging up in the shed. I have seen them where they've been welded open. And I'm not going to push that down far enough to open the jaws because it might go horribly wrong. But I have seen them mounted next to the front door, welded open, so they're perfectly safe, but having the doorbell button on the plate inside, which would make you pretty nervous ringing the doorbell. Anyway, they will sell quite okay, $15 each. Some of the brands can be worth a lot more money, some of the rarer brands. These probably are all Lane's Ace ones. Some of them had a wire type spring rather than a flat metal spring, but these look to be all the same. So $15 each. I could probably get these in the shop today, actually. But if you do find some old rabbit traps, check the branding. It usually has either something stamped on the flat spring metal here or on the plate. And there are lots of different brands. There's Griffiths comes to mind. I've seen Bunyip ones. There's a platypus branded one, and if it has a picture of a platypus on it, it's very rare and worth quite a lot of money. I think one of them sold at an auction once for about $9,000. I don't think they're probably going to pull that much again. There's only going to be relatively few people in Australia that would pay that much, and once they've all got one, the price is going to drop. That's the trouble with values on things where there's a limited number of collectors. Different for like stamps or coins, because there's so many collectors in the world for those. But rabbit traps, well, there'd be a limited number of people that would shell out many thousands for one trap. Lots of other brands. Tonks is another one that comes to mind. Sometimes they're just marked with XXL and that sort of stuff on them. There are books available to check out brandings, but these will be all common ones. But that's cool. We can get this crate done today. Get that stuff priced in the shop. And there have to be 10 or more there, so there's going to be $150 to $200 and something else out of the storage room. So we've done that crate. We'll finish this video up now. I'll wash up some of these tools and maybe get them in the shop today. Get the rabbit traps out. There were 10 of them, so $150 back would be nice. more space made. I'm pretty happy with this progress. We might do some regular videos early in the morning, and then we get into our day of work here, and we'll gradually get it done, eating that elephant one bite at a time. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.